Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, President William Ruto today took over power from Uhuru Kenyatta after defeating the former president's preferred successor Raila Odinga in the August 9 general elections. This marks a new administrative reign following the inauguration ceremony that was held at the Moi International Sports Center. Dr. William Ruto is seemingly all out to keep the numerous promises he made to the electorates. The reign of the Doyen has just begun, and that forms the basis of our discussion tonight. And joining me is a political analyst, Victor Misuo, as we take a sneak peek into the future. Thank you so much, Victor, for dedicating your time for this discussion.
Thank you.
All right. Now, it is a day that Kenyans really waited for eagerly to get to know officially the president for the next 5 years. And we saw in the inauguration ceremony several heads of states, foreign dignitaries, and thousands of Kenyans, of course, flocked the international international sports center to come and witness the swearing in of President William Ruto and his running mate Rigathi Gachagua, who now becomes the deputy president. So, with the whole scenario that we saw, I mean, the old picture that we saw at the Kasarani Stadium, what do you make of this inauguration? How is the reception of Kenyans with the news that now William Ruto is the 5th president?
First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity for being here tonight. And as you've rightly put here, today it's a very historic moment for Kenyans. I know we have had presidents before, we've had transitions that happened before, but today is quite different, and there's a place in history that this moment has been cemented. The first thing that we could check, first of all, is that this is the first time since 2007 that we've had transfer of power smoothly, peacefully, without any hiccups.
Right.
The election campaign was great. There were no settled case of political death that I could know of. So the first thing that I could say today is remarkably is a step to the future, and going forward, it's evident people will not die again because of election, will not die again because of politics. And to sum it all, even though I'm starting, but to sum it all, today's reception was, I could use one word and say epic. Kenyans were up as from early as 4 a.m. Some people traveled from other countries, presidents, head and state. I know friends who were in Uganda who are Kenyan, they specifically came to Nairobi for the president's inauguration. So it was huge. The stadium, I've never seen Kasarani full to the brim, even in some of the sports events. But today, the stadium was full to the brim, up to capacity. Some Kenyans were forced to stay outside and other watch at the cafe. So today, it's a mark that it has started in Kenya. A new dawn has started. So. Going forward, we'll see which will unfold under Ruto's presidency.
All right. Now, it's really impressive. Just to note that from what you say, the transfer of power, and if transfer of power, maybe we can take a history of looking at how it happened in the year 2002 when the late President Moi was transferring power to the late, of course, President Mwai Kibaki, and of course, this also happened in the year 5 years, 2002, it happened again in 2012-2013 when President Mwai Kibaki the late was transferring power to the former president now, President Uhuru Kenyatta. And of course now we've seen this in the year 2022 again. So, I mean, reading from the history of that we've had, when do you foresee Kenya, of course, transferring power again to another president?
We know Kenyans. We've been here, and if I'm a very good student of history, most of presidents serve 2 terms. Since Kibaki served 2. Yes. The outgoing president President Uhuru Kenyatta served 2 times, and I expect nothing different from President William Ruto. Remember, Ruto during his campaigns, he gave out a huge manifesto. I said there's a lot of work needs to be done economically. He made promises, and those promises, I really doubt that they can. 5 years is enough. So the next time I expect, from my political analytic view, the next time that I'm expecting transfer of power to another presidency is in 2020. In 2032, that is 10 years from now. I'm just doing small analysis because we've listened to the DP, Rigathi. Rigathi now is 57 years old.
Yes.
President Ruto is 55 years old. So Rigathi says that he's going to work with Ruto and peacefully retire with his boss. I hope he keeps up to his mind. So going by that, I think 2032 we'll see new crops of leaders, and there's so many promising leaders, the likes of Babuino, the likes of Governor Sakaja, Ndindi Nyoro. Those are notable names that we expect to see fighting for presidency in future. Even you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. Now, maybe just to go from that, if from your own speculation is that the next time Kenya could be witnessing the transfer of power is higher chances in 2032. But constitutionally, our constitution states that the reigns, or rather the term of a presidency, should be 5 years, and that's when Kenyans hold another general elections to probably elect new leaders, and the new leaders includes the President of the Republic. So based on actually what we've seen in most previously, the predecessors of President William Ruto, they have served at least 2 terms. So what does this really tell us in the year 2027, when we'll be having another general elections? Ruto has come out in a way challenging the status quo that you can vie for the presidency for the first time and clinch the seat. He also challenged the status quo where the state machinery had a favorite candidate, but he defeated the favorite candidate of the state who was being supported by the state machinery. So looking at the year 2027, when Ruto probably will be having the luxury of the state machinery because he's the sitting president, will there be need really for contestants to contest with him the presidential election in 2027? First,
what we need to understand, as I started, I said this today was a very historic moment in the books of this history, and what is notably important to note is that as an analyst at this stage, whatever future political events will happen, it's not as clear as we could tell. They say one day in politics is a very long time. Okay. So right now we have an opposition that has a low morale. They have no energy. The main competitor, Raila Odinga is out of the country, notably. I'm told Martha Karua, the deputy, turned down the effort. She was in the golf club.
She was playing.
That was really, so people are wounded, and President Ruto has a very huge task ahead of him. Why am I saying so? Half of the country voted for him. Half didn't vote for him.
Yes.
And others didn't vote completely. So you have a country that has very mixed emotions. The supporters who didn't campaign for President Ruto are now on a wait and see. Most of them, we asked them, what do you expect from the government?
Right.
Everybody right now is uncertain. But I like the way President Ruto has taken charge to his government, considering the different presidential executive orders that he made today. He's trying to fulfill some of his promises, and I knew, as a future as a politician and a future leader in this country, I say Ruto is coming in with a breath of fresh political dynamics. For the first time in political history, we see a president who is willing and ready to fulfill the promises. He promised Wetangula the third in command, he gave him the job.
Yes.
He promised Kingi senator, he gave him the job. And the big names, the likes of Devin D, the likes of Itumbi, Chirchir, all those are now in a position knowing that if certain people someone has given true to his word, they expect nothing but the thing. And this should be a start in politics. Every politician must be able to honor their word.
Right.
And that will differentiate between politicians and leaders. Okay. And President Ruto is trying to bring up that new culture, which is very commendable for him. But time will tell.
Right.
Time will tell.
Now, you've said at a point that we are looking at an opposition that is weak. Not really weak, but we are looking at an opposition that is exhausted of the energy, because the leader of opposition by constitution should be Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, having been the second runners up in the presidential contest, and of course he was out of the country for the reasons that he well stated to the nation, and the running mate, of course, Martha Karua, was somewhere just playing golf, enjoying golf. Golf is fun, So what do we foresee of this government? Because the role of the opposition is to keep the government, the government of the day at pace, keeping checks on the government. But what we've seen recently, even before the inauguration of President William Ruto into office, we saw leaders who are allied to the Azimio camp joining the Kenya Kwanza camp. Of course, now they're joining the government. But these are the forces that would have stood strong to keep the government of the day, to keep checks on the government of the day. So in terms of opposition and keeping checks into the government of the day, are we going to see a country where the government of the day can do whatever it wants to do without the opposition creating a balance? Because it might be weak if all the leaders allied to the to the opposition camp join the government of the day.
What I can say, my honest analysis, if we look at the constitution very well, the constitution that was promulgated, the 2010 constitution, it set out clear roles of the three branches of government. And you see, on Ruto's defense, his pledge was he's going to strengthen institutions to do their job. So according to his thinking, his argument is, why do we need a strong opposition if institution will be doing their job? Why do we need that's why he shut down the BBI that was supposed to create an office of on opposition. So what I can tell, Kenya will move on, and what I can tell you, politicians are coming up, strong politicians, new crop of leaders are coming out, people with integrity, and Ruto will have no choice but to deliver. What I can say, if you go back to history in 2017 towards 2022, you could tell that opposition came from the government itself. A faction that was didn't agree with what President Uhuru Kenyatta was doing was actually the real opposition, and that was the section that led to the fall of BBI. So what I can say is, it doesn't matter how many leaders join us, because most of these leaders, you ask them, why do you go to the other side? Is it because you are greedy, you need money, or what? But the argument is, we were in Azimio because we were coerced. We were forced by cases of the DCI, EACC. And now that all that is not available, we can associate with them. Those are their defense, and those are their rights to that. They are free to associate with whomever they want. But the question is, will that kill the opposition? Will that weaken the opposition? Someone might argue. But according to my point of view is, if we continue with what the constitution has set us to do, in parliament there's the minority and there's the majority.
Yes.
In the judiciary, we've seen that it has proven itself terms without number that is independent and capable of doing anything. So if parliament and judiciary is doing the work, I see no fear, I see no problem with Ruto overstepping his mandate. So if we look it in that angle, in that way, I think there's no problem. Anyone can work with anyone who wants to work with.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, just after the swearing in, we saw the president now, William Ruto, officially starting, he got the ball, started the ball, ball is now on the course and it's rolling. He hit the ball hard, assuming now he was also playing golf, so he drove the ball, and we saw, of course, him saying that this afternoon he shall be signing, appending his signatures to the 6 judges who are supposed to be appointed and sworn in tomorrow. So at some point, of course, you noted that we are seeing for the first time a president who has started to deliver on the promises he made. And during the campaign periods, the promises that were made by the Kenya Kwanza, because the president now was the leader of the Kenya Kwanza team, he made numerous promises to the electorates. And you've hinted at a point that some of these promises might not be delivered in the first term, that is within the first 5 years. Do you think probably this is a chance, rather it is a trick used by politicians to extend, probably to ask for another term from the electorates? Because we've been seeing it in the members of parliament. They're saying that tulianza kazi, so give us time, give us another term so that we complete what we started. Do you think it's the same thing that is playing in the presidency of the year 2022?
Being fair to President Ruto's government, that is, this is his first day in office, at least we've seen the intention, we've seen the zeal of him getting to work. You remember before even the swearing in, the president-elect had already made several promises. He had promised to lower the price of unga. He has promised to swear in the first, the judges, of which I remember during the campaign periods, he was interviewed in one of the local media stations, and he was asked, will you swear in the judges? His response was as well as what he did today. He said, day one.
Yes.
And true to his word, the first day, immediately after the inauguration, which some critics say that the speech that he gave today was not fit enough for an inauguration. It was supposed to be, presidential, but he looks like a person who is ready to get into business. He didn't want to say a lot about, what normally people give in their speech. In his speech, he gave presidential orders. In his speech, he showed the world and the rest of Kenya that, yes, you've made the right decision. And that is what a president should do. A president must give people hope. When the so-called hustlers, when they see the president, they were like, is this guy really going to fulfill the promises? Is he going to give us the 50 billion that he promised? Is he going to give us the one license that they promised in Lairo? So the first task, of which I think the handlers of the president did when they were handling the speech, he made sure to give people hope.
Right.
Next thing he did, he rearranged the priorities of government. Because if you look at the orders that he gave, didn't need policy work, they didn't need parliament approval. These are things that he had as a president he could do. Swearing of the judges, this mandate is solely given to the president, of which President Uhuru Kenyatta had his reason, and President Ruto came in and showed people that are in charge. So the first thing he did, swearing the president, of which he said tomorrow.
Right.
The next thing he did, he tackled the issue of cost of living, and he said from next week, fertilizer will be available from 6,000, 3,500. I mean, even if you don't
the dry port in Naivasha,
I'm from the coast, and I could tell you, people, when you see the media talking about the Naivasha dry port, we see people talking about the transfer of port. For us, people who are born in the coast, it's very critical, because if we look closely, there are many people, our mothers, our fathers, are employed either directly or indirectly from the activities of port. So if you remove some faction and pregnant to Naivasha, it's like taking ugali from Bugoma and giving it to the northern people, which is
but
not fair.
anyway, not really. But you see, if it went to Naivasha, it also opened other doors for people in Naivasha.
But
anyway,
analogy given, you have two kids. Do you take food from one kid and give it to the other? No.
Okay.
The president, the former president, what he will have done, he will have looked for other opportunities for the people of Naivasha, not to take the opportunities that are already there historically since independence for the people of Mombasa to take it. So that is the inequality that he's trying to. But clever as he is, Ruto expected a backlash. You know, if you take the port back to Mombasa, the people of Naivasha say, "Hey, wait a minute. We are the one who voted for you." If you compare the people who voted in the coast and the people in Naivasha, the Naivasha votes are many. So his obligation you'll expect to be for the people he voted for. And this demonstrated that he said he's going to be a president for all.
For all.
So he brought the equity. So he told them, "Yeah, wait a minute. This belongs to these people. For the people of Naivasha, what am I going to do? I'm going to take down the price of fertilizer or for coffee farmers and tea farmers."
Right.
That is, say, I'm taking this, but I'm going to empower you with this. So that was so clever and smart of President Ruto.
Absolutely. Now my director is telling me that because of time, we need to probably wind up. What's the one word you'd be having for the electorates, the Kenyans at large, even as we are walking into the new government?
I'll try to put it as short. So my take home is so simple. I tried to analyze today's event and the consequences that we'll have in future. And one thing I noted is that power is transient. So no matter who you are, if you're holding a public office, just know that at the end of 5 years, the people will make a decision and power will go to someone else, if not. So power is transient. Another thing what I need to do is, now that President Ruto, you have the opportunity to unite the country. You've had an opportunity to grow through the village nation, whatever the DCI, the frustration that you went through. What I'll tell you is that don't be vengeful. Unite the country. Don't do as you promised. If you do half of what you promised in your campaign period, trust me, people of Kenya are going to re-elect you back. And for the opposition, don't troop in to join the government. Okay? Just stay wherever you are. Show the people that you made this decision, but you are here to safeguard your interest. If you cross over, then we'll see you as a guilty, as a leader who is there for power and resources, which is not fair. So for those few remarks, I'll tell the King of Kenya, there's hope. When you wake up in the morning, make sure you go, do what you're supposed to do, do the right thing, and at the end of the day, Kenya is going to be a place for all. As President Ruto showed us, you can come from a humble background and be the the commander-in-chief of the country. So anyone can be anything. There's no deep state, there's no art. If you put hard work, if you have consistency and put the faith in God, anything is possible.
All right, that's so impressive. Thank you so much, Victor Miso, for that great insights of this interview. And we shall be, of course, having more interviews as we talk about the government, of course, also keeping checks in the government, because my director, Dennis, is a member of the Azimio camp. And as you've been told by Miso, you need to stay there, stay strong, keep checks on this government. I don't know where he's taking me, but for that, let me just make peace with him. Take a very short break. Shall be coming back with more.